So what we're going to do now in exercise number 2 is it says to factor to find the zeros of the following quadratics. So it says beginner, and then we are going to have intermediate and advanced. So we're definitely going to need to know how to factor. That's from chapter 8. And we're going to be factoring by finding two numbers that multiply to this negative 12 and add to that 4. So let's start off by making y equal, and then we're going to see what two numbers will multiply to negative 12 and add to 4. So again, we're going to start off each parentheses with x, because x times x will give us that x squared. And then let's think, what two numbers are going to multiply to give us 12 and add to 4? Not 1 and 12, 2 and 6, maybe. Let's try 6, and let's try 2. Now we need a positive 4, so I'm going to make my 6 positive and my 2 negative. So let's check that out. 6 times negative 2 will be negative 12, and 6 minus 2 will be positive 4. Now, the step that we're going to add in is we're going to make this whole thing equal to 0. So I'm just going to switch it around to x plus 6 and x minus 2 equals 0. And I'm going to set each one of these factors equal to 0, because if one of them equals 0, the whole thing is going to equal 0. So the only new step that we're adding in right now is that we're going to set each of our factors equal to 0, then solve. So let's subtract 6 from both sides, and let's get x equals negative 6. And let's add 2 to both sides over here and get x equal to 2. So your zeros of this quadratic are x equals 2 and x equals negative 6. In part B, we're going to do the same thing. So again, we're going to have x squared minus 2x minus 120, and we're going to set this equal to 0. A little bit different order than the first one, but all the same thing happening. So we're going to factor this side to two numbers that multiply to 120 and combine to 2. So let's start off with our parentheses x and x, because x times x gives us x squared. And then the first two numbers, how about 12 and 10? It looks like I could get a 2 from a 12 and a 10. This time the 12 is going to have to be negative and the 10 positive, because negative 12 times 10 will be negative 120, and negative 12 plus 10 will be negative 2. So after I get my two factors, then what I want to do is I want to set each one of those factors equal to 0. All right. On my left side, I'm going to have to add 12 to both sides to isolate x, and I'm going to get x equals 12. And then on my right side, I'm going to have to subtract 10 from both sides, and I'm going to get x equals negative 10. So again, my two zeros of this quadratic are going to be x equals 12 and x equals negative 10. Finally, for my last one, I'm going to do the same exact thing that I've been doing. I'm going to set my quadratic equal to 0, because I'm trying to find out where this equation is equal to 0, or my x-intercepts, my zeros, or my roots. I'm going to factor this by finding two numbers that multiply to 32 and add to 4. So that might be a simple one if you thought of 8 and 4. And then my signs, I'm going to need a positive and a negative, because 8 times negative 4 will give me negative 32, and 8 minus 4 will give me positive 4. So after I get my two numbers, I set each factor equal to 0, and then solve. Let's subtract 8 on this side, and we get x equals negative 8. And let's add 4 on this side and get x to equal 4. So again, if you want to graph these in your calculator, you could go ahead and you could put parts A, B, and C all in your calculator, and you're going to see that your roots are the roots that you just found algebraically. Pretty cool.